progress isn't a straight line, it's a chosen curve. Stay strong and stay true to you. Happy Easter!
Today is a very important day, folks. It's spring, and it is the first day of the rest of your life. Spring for me is an exciting time in Germany. I hunt for these beautifully colored painted wooden eggs. I love to color eggs, do some spring planting, and most importantly, you can't have springtime without preparing Easter baskets. Spring is about life, vibrancy, beauty, reaping what you sow, and a celebration. But for everyone in this world, we all need to take time to pause and reflect. We need to look at our motion. What direction are we going in this spring? Is it a direction that you intended to go, or is it a direction that you feel you should be going? What are the external influences on that direction? And is your inertia taking you where you want to go in a year, in 2 years, or in 5 years? Maybe you haven't even looked at that yet. Well, today, I want to talk a lot about growth and renewal and movement. And with that, since the 1600s, when Sir Isaac Newton was born, he developed an equation that governs masses, and it also governs life. And it is essential to look at this Newton's equation, or Newton's first law of motion, the law of inertia, to really deep dive into where you are right now and where you're going. And that's what we're going to do today. In the law of inertia, an object at rest is going to stay at rest, and an object in motion is going to stay in motion, unless interrupted by an outside force. Now, if we were to look at this egg and say this egg is sitting still, and unless something interrupts it, internally or externally, it's going to stay still. If I have a force put on this egg, say the egg drives itself, it's going to move forward. But if there is an equal and opposite opposing force to this egg, it's still going to be still. This egg could also just be spinning, like a hamster in a hamster wheel. Now, there's some scenarios in there that you can think about that apply to your own life. Do you have external forces in your life that are opposing the direction that you want to go and keeping you still? Or do you have some ingrained behaviors that keep you spinning like a hamster on a hamster wheel? Those could be habits, thoughts, or beliefs that you hold. It really takes you examining all of this in your life to realize where your inertia is right now, where your movement is going, and if it's actually a productive movement. I'll give you an example. I was always afraid to move to another country. It took me a lot of courage to move by myself across the world when I grew up for 20 plus years in a small town. Well, fast forward 20 years and I am thriving, I'm living overseas, and I've been to almost 50 countries. And I've learned such a lot through that process. But what I had to do is I had to take the first step. I had to look at my life and realize that the reason I wasn't moving forward was because of my own internal beliefs. Because if you look at yourself and you look at what your beliefs are, sometimes your beliefs are those forces that are forcing you in the wrong direction. So I want you to examine your inertia as the first step to really looking at your life and moving forward with purpose. You may have a habit that holds you back. For me, I had a habit of restricting myself from food. Now, whether that be societal pressures or pressures I put on myself, I thought that the key to being successful and being accepted was to be rail thin. Well, that belief that I had was one of those underlying beliefs that held me back for a really long time until I realized a healthy way to manage my weight. And that was through not restriction, but through nourishment. So I want you to peel back what the beliefs are and what the belief system is deep inside of you to truly start to evaluate this spring what's holding you back and what's moving you forward. Now there's another part to this. when you look at your inertia that you may need to examine, because this is how it was for me. You're moving in a direction, right? You may have inertia, you may have movement where you keep moving forward, but it doesn't feel quite right. You need to also examine your motivations for movement. Are you moving forward in someone else's dream? Are you moving forward in a dream that your parents may have had for you? I know for me, I'm a mechanical engineer, and yes, I love math, and yes, I love engineering, but the initial step I made to get into that career was following in the footsteps of my stepfather. And that was great, and it served me well thus far, but I've finally chosen a different path. I've chosen a different way to express myself than he would have. And with that has come authenticity for me. And it's made me be able to be myself, which makes me feel like I'm moving forward with more purpose. So examine the motivations behind your direction as well. I want you to challenge the direction you're going in. I want you to seriously look at where your movements are taking you day to day. And is this the movement you want, the direction you want, or is this someone else's direction? Direction without clarity is just speed. Pause, reflect, and realign on the direction that you want to go in your life. Align this with your inner purpose. And if you don't have a purpose, start doing something that feels good to your gut. And I promise you, the first step is going to be scary, but once you start moving in the direction of what feels good to your gut, you're gonna realize that you feel more aligned. I can tell you one of the hardest things that I've done recently was a month ago. I published my first short on YouTube. You know, it's something I'd always wanted to do, but I can tell you when I did it, I felt like I could throw up. That was the hardest thing, posting that first short and then holding myself in and waiting for all of the comments. I was afraid, I was scared, my body got closed off. But guess what? After I did that, after I made that first step, it was simply repetition, post, post, post. Share with the world what I know, because that's what I want to do and that's what I'm passionate about. And I want to help others the way that engineering has helped me. So I encourage you to start walking down that path of authenticity, and eventually you will find that you're paving your own direction. And all it takes is one step in the right direction. Now, looking at this spinning egg again, I do want to bring up one other scenario when you look at your life and direction. Are you spinning in indecision? When you look at my short on decisions, it's going to give you a few options. One of those options is to just make a decision. If it's the wrong decision, you quickly find out it just doesn't feel quite right in your gut. So indecision is a choice.